It's Saturday morning and it's just after 9:30. I've just put back a lovely scaly mirror, £11.11 for this lake is actually half decent. We're in January at the minute, 27th of January, Saturday the 27th, and I arrived last night about 6 o'clock. Traffic was quite bad leaving work, so I fumbled to get the rods out, and this morning was rudely awoken by a single beep. By the time I'd put the boots on and got walking to the rod, it was a one toner, and the fish had swam and kited off to the left, right down over other anglers' rods. Now luckily enough they were all backleaded, so it didn't disturb anybody, but if they hadn't have been, I would have wiped out another guy's 3 rods. The fish had moved that much, so I had to literally put the pressure on the fish and guide him back. Once I got him back into my swim, he just wasn't for giving up. This lake is very, very strange. In the winter, the fish can fight really hard. I had a fortnight ago an 8-pound, 3-ounce common, and you would have sworn it was a far bigger fish. It was staying deep. It wasn't showing itself. It wasn't giving itself up, and I just couldn't get any hold on the fish at all. It turned out that it was, as I say, an 8-pound common, so quite strange, but half decent. I think I've just got the rod back out, and I'm gonna have a bit of breakfast here shortly, and hopefully a few more fish will be on the bank. I'm staying to Sunday morning, then I need to do a quick pack up and get home. Now in this session, because it's winter, I'm fishing roughly about 100 to 110 yards, and one's under quite a snaggy willow tree on the far bank. Hopefully if I get the camera on the bait boat, you'll see where I'm talking about. But yeah, so that's the giveaway. I'm using the bait boat for this session, mostly because it's winter and the spots are harder to find. In this lake you can get a few runs in the winter, but it's getting the rigs in exactly the right place. Now I'm using Essential Cell, 2 bottom baits topped off with pink corn and 1 runny rig with the Essential Cell. I usually use a size 6 hook, but I took it up to a 4, mostly because people are constantly saying to me, oh, you need to take the hook size down in the winter, and I'm thinking, why? A fish doesn't know whether, oh, I'm going to take this because it's a size 8 hook rather than a size 6 that I take in the summer. That's a load of rubbish. But the fish was well nailed. It inhaled the bait, and I had a hook in the bottom lip, but it was right back, and it took some working to get it out, so that was good. A real good hook hold. The runny rig for the last year on this lake and several others has done me really, really well. Even sometimes tripping up the same fish, hooking it again exactly the same way. This lake is renowned in the winter for single beeps and watching the bend in the rod tip to see, because it just sits there and shakes its head. And a lot of people I've seen got done on this lake when they've reeled in and their rig's been tangled because a fish has literally spat the hook bait out. They've been getting lunges on the rod tip at a single beep with a bobbin just moving slightly, and they think it's either bream or it's just something around about the baited area, but it's not. It's fish hooked on. Whereas the runny rig, for some reason, it's just been given one-tone screamers. I don't know if it's because it's how the fish have been hooked, or generally just the quality and the hooking potential of that rig, but fish have been screaming off and always really well hooked. You know, you have to put a bit of pressure onto the eye of the hook to pop it out with your thumb. So kudos to the runny rig, definitely, yeah. One thing you'll notice is I try to keep the bivvy as clear as possible. I've got a wee bivvy mat sitting there. I change between the Fox Crocs and the wellies to try and keep the ground sheet clear. And as I say, that's the page I had up there for the mini projector. So I've got my laptop sitting there and my iPad on charge. So I keep most of the bags below the bivvy and stuff. So it's a bit messier than usual, but it is tidy. It means I've all this floor space. As I say, I'm in the Avid HQ Mark II. It's a big 2-man bivvy, plenty of room, and it's, with it being an insert skin on the inside for winter, it's ideal. So there's a wee parabolic heater there, and for this time of year it has to be Twinings English breakfast, and you need a good strong cup of tea to get you through these winter nights. And so the wee Coleman stove, I've just got it going, but if you notice, I've got the bivvy set up letterbox style, so we're not getting gassed out. Though I think with a vaporizer in that, if it went out, it would stop pumping out petrol because it's not warm enough to be vaporized, and also I think it's less likely to give off toxins than the traditional gas stove. But we'll go out and sort of have a look here around the lake. Just looking in where I'm zooming there, I've one rod to the set of reeds you can see in the middle of the screen there, and then if I move the one you see in the middle of the screen there, I have a rod right against there, and then again one directly in the middle there. So all rods on the far bank. Wee lone swan swimming over there. It's a lovely mild evening for the end of January. You see the cords there, I've got captive backleads on. They're made from Picture, a company, I'm not sure if they're French or German or Belgian, but I can get 3 of those captive backleads for under a tenner. I usually buy a couple of sets of them posted, because it's 3 or 4 quid postage to the UK, and they are great. Not like the Fox ones that fall off. Great backleads. Well, here we are, the last evening. It's just about to turn 8:30. The 2 guys to the left of me, they've both just had 2 small fish, so they hadn't the rods out that long, so the fish are feeding here in the winter, so it's looking good for a bite. As you can see, I'm sitting in the t-shirt here. I'm roasting. I've got the Coleman stove here, just on low, with a bit of heat. I've got the bivvy door open for a wee bit of ventilation there, and I couldn't be feeling better. I get into the night hopeful that there will be maybe another fish on the bank, but who knows? As I said earlier, there's a lot of lines in the water, so we'll just see what comes of the evening and the early morning. Hopefully, I'm meant to be packing up sharpish, so I'm losing a wee bit of bite time, probably from about 9 to about 11, half 11, or even into the afternoon. But we'll give it our best shot, and hopefully there'll be another fish on the bank. I've had 3 now in 2018 so far. This is my second session out, so it'd be nice to see another fish on the bank. But again, it's just good to be out. It's great to be away from the stresses of life and the stresses of family as well, and just relax. Even if you're not catching, just to enjoy the beauty of nature. You know, it's nice. I was talking to a few guys there, and we were saying earlier, I've been out fishing with my dad from about the age of 5 or 6, maybe even younger, And you've a lot of people now who just pick up 3 carp rods, set of bait alarms, cast them out and sit in the bivvy. You know, that's all well and good here at the winter when there's very little to show. But in the summer I love to be out stalking fish, I like to be looking for fish. I also like to be fishing for other species. You know, I really enjoy catching tench. Now on scaled down gear, you know, on lighter gear, not the carp rods there, but I do enjoy fishing for other species, and that's the way I've been brought up. You know, multi-species, not just all carp, the latest phase, and get a couple of rods and go out there. You know, I genuinely enjoy just being on the bank, and I enjoy the social aspect of it as well. You know, like-minded people. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with just starting up fishing now, grabbing a couple of carp rods, but what I am saying is it's good to appreciate what we catch. You know, oh, I've caught a bream, so I've blanked. You know, you've still caught a fish, and you've still been out. I actually prefer the winter. I actually prefer coming out at this time of year. Today's the exception and yesterday, but usually you've less anglers on the bank, less pressure. You get a good fight out of the fish, and you feel like you've achieved more because you've caught it out of the normal times of what I like to call open season. You know, so it's just good to actually rise to the challenge. Now I'm hoping over the next couple of weeks to do some urban carping down at a venue called The Loch in County Cork. So if you haven't subscribed to the video, make sure you subscribe, because you'll get to see a lot more fishing. Now this is just me mucking about during a session. I'm not really taking it too serious. I'm just giving sort of updates of what's going on. It's just to kill the boredom a wee bit. I've been watching a few movies there. I've been drinking copious amounts of tea, as I say, the Earl Grey English breakfast, or Twinings English breakfast, just to keep myself lively. The 2 dogs here, they're out for the count. They couldn't be happier. They've had a great day just running about in the grass and in and out of the hedges and whatnot. And they both hate the water. They won't go near it, so it's safe enough for them to be here. And they just love being away from the house. You know, it's better than sitting watching the TV. You know, you got to be in it to win it. There's not big fish in this lake. I don't care. The fish I had today was a lovely scaly old fish. You know, it's probably about 15-20 year old. They're sort of stunted in here. Those fish, they're not really growing past 12, 13, 14 pound. There was fish up to just under 20, I think about 18 and a half here, and they've been moved to a few other local lakes which are harder to get on. But again, this place is just good for a winter's run if you know what you're doing and you can put the rigs in the right place. I think a lot of the time people take carp fishing too serious. I genuinely just like getting out and getting out of the house for a few hours. You know, it's far too serious. You know, people hiding venues, you've got blurred out photographs. It's just went crazy, and people don't want to congratulate each other for catching fish. You know, it's nearly like there's an excuse of why you caught or why you didn't catch. Sometimes there's a lot of luck involved as well as the amount of skill. But here we are, we're just waiting now for the Delcums to rattle off. I've got, again, the 2 rods out on the 15mm essential cell with a bit of corded pink corn, and the Ronnie rig there as well. When sent out in the boat this time, I literally had about 5 or 6 boilies per rod. I broke a couple of them up, and that was all I put out, because I think last night I maybe went overboard a bit with the amount of bait that was put out. But you just don't know, because in this lake they do like a bit of feed in the winter, so it's hard to tell. I refrained from putting pellets in the boat this time. A couple of years ago I made the mistake of fishing particle and pellet over the winter here, and had nothing but bream. The amount of times with a 3-ounce lead I reeled in the morning, and you know what it's like, a big slimy bream on me. And I love other species. It sounds like I'm contradicting myself, but see, when you're playing a bream on a 3 3/4 test curve rod with a 3-ounce lead, it's no fun. It really is no fun. It's just like you're skull dragging them in, you know. But playing them on a feeder rod or a light match tip rod, great. You know, I could play them all day. And here in Ireland, as many people know, has been renowned for specimen bream through the year. So it's good. It's good. I just prefer to catch them on the gear that's suited to them. I'm just hoping now, as I'm talking to you here, that any second now the rod's going to rattle off. I've been trying different bottom bait rigs over the last couple of months. Some of the rigs I've been using use the Nash trigger link, and it's the bungee stuff. I'll show it as part of the video here. I'll link it in and show you a couple of the rigs. I've been tying it back to back grinner style with a wee short sort of 1 inch, if even an inch, sometimes half an inch bit of Corda Supernatural, just to use that as the bit right on the hair rig. So it works wonders, because usually what you get is beep beep and then all of a sudden a screamer, because the fish doesn't know how to deal with it. As it tries to eject the hook, it ends up sinking it in more, and every time it tries to spit the hook, it keeps sinking that hook in more. So it's a great rig. And the Corda Supernatural as well, dropping it with a boat, there's no tangle because you're not casting. I've casted it sort of 60 yards, and as long as you're hitting that clip or you're feathering it down, that braid, although very supple, will kick out. But it's even a brilliant braid on its own, or in a solid bag as well. You know, I've had many fish the last couple of years fishing the Supernatural, sort of very short, with a solid bag of crushed boiling crumb. But it's simple fishing. It's simple fishing here. I found the more you overcomplicate things, the more you want to reel it back in and you're wondering what's going on. I've just kept it simple. Keep it simple, stupid is what I've done for here, and hopefully it pays off for me tonight on another fish or two. I'm not worried. I go home, it's not a blank. I've had a lovely fish, I've had a good weekend. Ordered a kebab and chip and a bottle of Diet Coke, so it went down well, and it saves cooking. You know, it really does just make nights like this in the winter more comfortable. You're better picking somewhere that's like that. It's really surprising that this lake does so well, because it doesn't have a massive head of fish. You know, they say go to somewhere that has a big head of fish. The amount of fish that have died from here, that have been moved, that have been taken, has brought the fish down. I'm reckoning the stock's probably about 80 or 100 fish for the size of the lake, you know, and that's not a lot when you really think about it. You know, if you think of the likes of some of the linear complex fisheries, you know, you have 2,000 or 3,000 carp in the one lake. You've not got that here by any means of the imagination, but you do get runs. I mean, I've been on this lake now 4 years. The first season I was getting to know it, I was only catching maybe a fish the odd trip, and blanking quite a lot as well, till I got used to where the fish were. Casting 60, 70 yards when the fish were in lily beds right under my feet. You know, it's stuff you get to come and find out the more you fish the place. But I can think of one Monday night last summer where I had 8 runs to 8 landed fish, and the summer there, give them a few weeks after spawning just to settle down. I had 3 rods out and I had 10 runs, 9 landed runs, 8 from the same spot. Literally, you wouldn't believe me if I told you that it was 4.5 feet from the bank. You know, ridiculous close range fishing, and the fish all screaming takes, as most of the fish nearly playing out in the middle of the lake by the time I got to the rod. You know, just real powerful fish, even though they're not that big. And the 9th fish that I had, it was longer range, but again, they're right beneath your feet, especially here. You know, you don't have to be casting too far to get them. Winter's a different story though. At this time of year, there are a few places that are a bit deeper. I've had the fish finder on a couple of times and located spots that are sort of bowls in the silt, and it's where they have them fish feeding spots, and they will feed there in the winter, and they will feed there in the summer as well. It's just knowing where to put your rig. As I said, I'm using the essential sail, but I don't think it matters. I think 99% of the best bait is location. I think you've got the rig in the right location, you know, anything's possible. I know people like my dad, he would fish luncheon meat and things like that there, and still picks up the carp with that. So not even a high nutritional value boilie, just a bit of luncheon meat or a bit of pepperami or something like that does exactly the same job if it's in the right location. So I'm probably, as I said, it's just after 8:30. I'm probably going to chill out, watch a bit more of a movie, and you know what it's like when you're sitting and you're ready for the bite and never come. It's when you start to doze off, you've got the boots off, you're cosy for the night, or it starts pouring the rain, then the fish always comes in a more inconvenient time to the angler anyway. So I'm going to put on a movie here. I'm going to stick on the kettle, have a brew, and just chill out. I think that's the main thing. Catch you in a bit. Just a quick update, we're now on the third fish. I've had one from every rod. That was on a essential sail with a bit of pink corn, the left hand rod. 2 beeps and then an absolute screaming take. I was just about to light the stove for a cup of tea. I'd been out, I had a £5 common about an hour ago. So I think we're at 11 minutes past 2 and the night's still young on a winter session, so there could be a few more. I'll put the pictures in the video for you to have a look at, but definitely one of the better winter sessions here anyway. 3 fish, so I'll keep you posted. £10 2 ounces, third fish of the session. It's about 2 in the morning, so we'll get him up yet. We'll get this boy back, get the rod back out, and hopefully 1 or 2 more.